Do you love sweeping sci-fi epics with the solar system or universe in peril? Helionox, a deck builder from Mr. B Games, puts you right in the middle of a solar system in crisis. Do the solo and co-op modes work for a game that was originally only competitive? Let's find out and discuss 5 things about Helionox.
My first point is a mix, and that's the art and components in the game. On the positive side, the art is generally beautiful, very evocative of an interesting, unique sci-fi theme. I will say the theme isn't necessarily strong in a lot of the rest of the gameplay, but it is fabulous in the art. On the negative side, though, the components have some weird issues with them. The cards are not great quality, so you'll note that I sleeved all of mine. I would definitely recommend doing the same for your copy of the game. Also, the tokens are just a little bit weird. Here's the worst example. You'll note that to show when you have some defense ability, you have these little, very hard to see screen-printed single tokens. I mean, gosh, it's like disappearing depending on how I hold it. But then you have these cardboard tokens, really nice to show when you have 3 of it. And just in general, the tokens in the game are a little bit odd in how they were done, and I don't know if the people were talking to each other when they designed these. We move from that concern to a pro, and that's how quick and simple the AI is to resolve while still having some tactical depth. Resolving the AI takes no time at all. They get the highest value event, they get the highest value card from the market, and you're done. But you do have some tactical control over how these things go. You can get events before the AI can get to them. And also, because they go for face-up events before face-down ones, you can leave on purpose lower value face-up events to give yourself more time to get the really valuable ones. Similarly, if you buy or cycle the highest victory point cards in the market, you might force them to get something of less value. So again, you have a little bit of control in what is an incredibly fast and simple AI system. My third point is a con, and that's that the co-op play in the game feels pretty tacked on. Now, to be fair, both the solo and co-op play were designed after the competitive game, so in a way they are tacked on. But while solo tends to work pretty cohesively, co-op is lacking a bit. The only main way to cooperate with each other is to help out on events if you have an embassy or at the same location as another player. You can play defense cards to help them defeat the event. Now, this is fine and helps you shore up turns where you didn't draw enough defense, but as the main cooperative mechanic, it leaves a bit to be desired. Also, the game seems to have holdovers from the competitive rules. Like when you play a card to help another player, you get to draw 1 card as a bonus for doing so. In the competitive game, this gives you an incentive to cooperate when normally you wouldn't want to, but here it doesn't really make any sense. Overall, it just feels like co-op was kind of thrown in and not in a fully satisfying way. Back to a pro, I really enjoy the card management in the game and how you work with your hand. The first cool choice is that when you buy a card from the market, it goes to the top of your deck, which means if you have a draw ability in your hand, you can immediately play that card on the same turn. Really cool. Also, and what is probably my favorite pure mechanic in the game, if you don't use your entire hand, like for example you had some defense that couldn't defeat an event, you get to draw your 5 replacement cards before discarding what's left in your hand. Then you can look at all of your options and discard down to 5 cards to keep the best cards in your hand. It's a simple touch, but it's the best way I've seen of a deck builder letting you control your deck consistently, apart from Aeon's End where you don't shuffle your deck at all. My final point is a pro, and that's the fun tactical play of the game. This is a deck builder plus, like games like Clank and Trains before it, and that means that you're moving between these locations and doing other effects besides just buying cards and improving your deck. And the game presents you with a lot of tough choices on how to spend your money. You can spend it to move, you can spend it to build embassies that give bonuses and make movement cheaper but don't do anything for you in the immediate term. And you can of course spend it to buy new cards to upgrade your deck, so you have a really tough choice for what to do with your money. But if you're playing with the expansion, it doesn't stop there. You can pick up cargo and deliver it at other locations. And then you get another interesting choice. Do you want to take a really powerful illegal tech that's worth negative victory points at the end of the game? Or do you want to trade in the cargo to bank some credits? And banked credits can only be spent to buy cards from the marketplace, which I think is genius, because sometimes you want to play the board too much and you kind of forget to deck build, but having banked credits that can only be spent on marketplace card forces you to bring that other part of the game back into the forefront. Overall, it's a deck builder where your hand doesn't play itself, but you're forced to think each turn of the game, and I really enjoy that.
Helionox unfortunately has some knocks against it pretty quickly. The production quality isn't great across the board, the rules could be a little bit more clear, the theme feels a little bit dry and pasted on in some cases, and the co-op is pretty uninspiring. That being said, the solo play of Helionox is excellent. The puzzle is incredibly engrossing. You get a lot of variety every time you play. You can really switch things up by including or not including the expansion content for the deluxe edition, and it just plays incredibly fast. So this one's a bit of an odd recommend. If you think you're mostly going to play it cooperative, I think you better be ready to put some house rules or variants in play to make it really work well. But if you're interested in the solo play mainly, I think this is a great purchase, especially for those deck builder fans out there. Good gaming, everyone, and see you at the next stop.